So we're just 7 days away from National Elections Day here in South Africa. The 29th of May is when about 27 million people who've registered to participate in this year's election are expected to line up to cast their ballots and decide who will take the country forward for another term of government. Now, one of the roles or the work that the IEC has had to do is explain how this process is going to work because of a significant difference, that being the introduction of independent candidates. It's a big year for this country and its democracy. 30 years of freedom, 30 years of democracy. The political parties are still doing their campaigning and trying to convince those last few voters, thousands of voters, possibly millions, to cast their ballots in their favor. But the work of the IEC is even more critical than ever at this time. And because of that, we're fortunate enough here at Eyewitness News to have with us in studio Ms. Moagisi Sibanda. That's the General Manager for Civic and Democracy Education, as well as Research and Knowledge Management at the IEC. Thank you so much for speaking to Eyewitness News, ma'am. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much.
I was talking about the responsibility of the IEC, and it feels as though this year it's more heightened than ever. Do you agree? In terms of voter education.
Absolutely. Ahead of every election, we extend and expand our staff when it comes to doing civic education on the ground, because it is a very important mandate and we do it whether there's an election or not. But obviously for this year, we really had to be much more intentional around educating the public around the changes for the national and provincial elections. As you know, independent candidates have entered the fray. We're going to have 3 ballots this time around. You must vote where you're registered. And all of those changes were very important to educate and inform the public on.
And where does your office fit into this mammoth task that the IEC now has to pull off over just a few days? I know it starts well in advance, but there is a 4-day or so block where it's really intense.
Yes. I mean, you cannot run an election without preparing the electorate. And that is our duty within the outreach department. So we've got our civic education. We conduct research that informs our work, as well as the work in all areas of the IEC. And so in order for us to get to the 29th of May, you need an informed public. You need a public that is energized. You need a public that is owning the democracy. And that's the slogan, It's your democracy, own it. And without doing that, you don't get, the enthusiasm, the turnout that you wish for in order for Election Day to be successful.
And how would you rate the level to which you've been able to do that this year?
We've really hit civic education on every single platform you can imagine. Yeah. We have face-to-face, where we had just under 2,500 civic education facilitators in each and every province, going ward to ward, educating with materials, fact sheets. We've been utilizing television. We have a partnership with television stations. We have used social media, where young people engage quite a lot. We've got a WhatsApp line, 0600 88 0000, where you can get a wealth of resources around civic education. We've just today uploaded the official sample ballots on our voter education page. So voters are able to go onto our website and familiarize themselves with their ballots, the national ballot, the regional ballot, and the provincial ballot, as they will be.
Am I right to say that's where you're expecting the greatest challenge, the issue of the introduction of 3 ballots, which breaks with the norm in a huge way because, once again, of the introduction of independence?
Yes, it's one area that we've had to really repeatedly educate on. We're currently running community radio station discussions where listeners can also call in and discuss. We've got it on our social media as well. We've created videos on it, animations on it. We've even created a sign language video on the 3 ballots, because we need to accommodate all voters in that respect.
And let's revisit this conversation. I know it's been explained over and over. I think it bears repeating, especially with a week to go.
Yes.
When I get to my polling station on Wednesday, I get these 3 pieces of paper. What is on them and what do I do?
Okay. So when you get to your voting station, first of all, make sure you show up. Get there with your IDs, so a smart card ID or green book ID, or your temporary ID certificate. Then you will receive, if you are voting at your registered voting station, 3 ballots. That's the national ballot, which will be a blue double-column ballot. That is for political parties only contesting for the 200 seats in National Assembly. We have 400 seats in National Assembly. So that national ballot is for just political parties. It will be blue. It will be double column. Remember, 1 mark
So that's the
on
blue.
each ballot.
The
That's
blue
the blue
for the parties.
For the parties,
Right.
for National Assembly. Another ballot that goes to National Assembly is the regional ballot, which is the new one. That is the one that introduces the independent candidates to go into National Assembly. So it will have it will have political parties as well as independent candidates. It's a single column. It is orange or brown, depending on your color vision.
Because we did actually have a debate about that.
Yes.
I heard Simon Mabulo saying, it's brown. And then our associate politics editor, CG, was like, sorry, but that thing looked orange to me.
It's orange. Put it together, it's somewhere around there. So that's the regional ballot. It will have parties and independent candidates on there. And each region or province will have its unique ballot.
Right.
Because you are taking provincial representation to National Assembly to complete the 400 seats. The last ballot is the one we all know, the provincial legislature ballot, which will also have political parties and independent candidates.
This is the pink one.
It will be the pink one. It will be a single column ballot across.
And is the expectation that will add to how long it takes then to give us a result, to count the votes? Because traditionally when we've come here to the Results Operations Centre, by around 9-10 p.m. on the day of voting, you start to see
results
the smaller
in.
centres start to declare their results.
Yes. We anticipate that it may take just a little longer, but what we have done is that we've added capacity to each voting station of counting staff. So this won't be staff who will be at the voting station all day. We're bringing in fresh people who will be alert at the end of the voting day to come in and do the counting. So that also increases our reliability, which we've always had. But, we cannot rest on our laurels. We want to do better and ensure that we deliver results in a quick time as possible.
17 court cases you've had in the run-up to this election. 14 have come out with an outcome that basically leaves the IEC in the clear. 3 are yet to be decided by the courts. Are you more nervous this year than you were in 2021, 2019 about the process?
We're not nervous about the process because we really believe that any challenges that arise have the correct avenues, and all of those avenues have been explored and many have been brought to conclusion, which has enabled us to continue. The ballots have been printed and that's moving along. The voting stations are going to be ready. We know all the numbers of voters to expect for special votes, for home visits, as well as for voting days. So we're well prepared. And in fact, they have crystallized what our duty and what our role is. And it also informs the public what the mandate of the IEC is. So I think it's been quite positive to have some of these more public, because it really helps with understanding of our role as the electoral management body.
I referenced the fact that there's been quite a large amount of legal challenges, litigation around the election. With the 3 outstanding cases, am I right to say that there's nothing at this point that would happen legally that could pause what's supposed to happen on Wednesday, that could delay the election?
I wouldn't want to conclude as such. However, we are ready to deliver the election on Wednesday.
And final message then to people as we prepare to vote?
Final message to South Africans, show up. There's 27.7 million of us who have registered and RSVP'd for our big celebration, because it is a big celebration. It is something that comes around every 5 years for us to come together to review and make our democratic right, a lived reality for ourselves. So show up, ensure you're at the right voting station, and let's all have a great experience on voting day.
Moagisi Sibanda, good to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And do stay with Eyewitness News as we count down to the election, exactly a week away now, continuing coverage on all our platforms. Follow all of it on the Prime Media Plus app. See you soon.